I think, yes, we can move on now. I think most of us that have been here the last 6 weeks, we have moved on just from, we have enough to worry about, of again, getting over last year and then coming in here and learning a new scheme and new concepts. Like, we had to press on, and so that's what we were doing. I think this is more of a, it sounds terrible, but thank God it's over.
Yeah, that was Jordan Mailata yesterday talking about the drawn-out process of completing the trade of A.J. Brown. Good to see you. Welcome into Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL, along with Barrett Brooks. I'm Danny Pommells. Are you glad, B, the saga is over, just like the Eagles left tackle said?
What saga?
Oh, what saga?
Oh, no, DeVonta Smith. Yeah, we're going with DeVonta Smith.
We're moving ahead. We are pushing forward here, and that brings us to our three-point stance presented by Toyota. Stance number one, the aforementioned DeVonta Smith can outperform A.J. Brown this season. Smitty assumes the role of the Eagles' top wideout this year with Brown shipped up to Foxborough. As we look at their numbers over the last 4 years, it's pretty darn close, B. So can Smith outdo his former teammate? Does he have to?
Oh, he doesn't have to, but I'm saying he will. And that's just because DeVonta is just a special type of player. It's two different contrasting styles. You got the brawler in AJ, but then you have the boxer in Smitty. And that's the way I look at it. The two.
Interesting.
And that's how they dwell inside that offense, for so long, because Smitty is such a silky smooth guy. He's great at route running. He creates separation, in his routes. He's able to go out there and have silky smoothness, and while he's doing it. I mean, I watched camp, and I could just see how versatile he is as a player, just not just going up and running routes and creating that separation, but also in 50-50 balls. His ability to go out there and muscle guys, even though he's small in stature, to go up and high point the ball. He has great hands, strong hands. He is a special player, and I think we really will get a first-hand analysis on how good he is and how good he can go into the future.
Yeah, I'm sure he's looking forward to showing out this year.
Oh, for sure, especially in this new offense that they have, you know. So I'm anxious to see what he's going to do in the new offense also.
Heisman Trophy winner, ready to deliver. Do you think A.J. will have a big year?
I think A.J. will have a big year. A.J.'s going to have a huge year, number one, because he is the number one receiver there also. But I'm thinking, I'm looking at the composition that he has. I'm looking at their depth chart. There's not many guys there. No, there isn't anybody there along the same lines as Smitty. Mm-hmm. So he's going to get double coverage. They're going to still force the ball to him. But he doesn't have anybody right now at the running back position that, with Garner, them bringing another safety in the box. Now they're going to too-high him. They're going to cloud him and all that stuff. I still think he'll get his receptions. But there's nobody there to really open things up for him. Here he had Saquon Barkley bring his safety down because you had to stop the run. You had Smitty on one side or right over there with him, so you have to watch what he was doing. You double him for a second, and all of a sudden Smitty goes out, then you got to take the double team off, then he can go out there and ball again. Mm-hmm. All these things, that he had here, there was a very much so a luxury he won't have now. So can he do it? Yes, I still think he can do it, and they're going to force the ball to him. But we'll see how long he does that and how happy he is with it.
All right, let's get to our second stance. Sean Mannion is an evil genius. That label given to him by Jordan Mailata during his media availability yesterday. Here is what the Birds tackle had to say about the new offensive coordinator.
Sean is a evil genius. That is my first impressions. He just knows ball. The guy knows ball, and if I were to lock the three smartest people in the facility in one room, Sean would be there, and I think Sean would just be by himself. It would just be Sean. He's a wizard, and man, I'm super excited. As the year goes on, we get to display what is in that beautiful mind of his.
Evil genius, mad scientist, call it what you want, Barrett. A pretty ringing endorsement of the new OC for sure.
Absolutely. And him being a backup quarterback, he saw the things that he didn't like and saw the things that he did like from a different perspective from most. He was able to sit back and watch the starter do that stuff and all right, I would have done this and I would have done that. He looks at the type to be sitting in his room, drawing up plays and stuff, going out and kicking it. He looks like a guy that he looks at his availability of the weapons that he has. He looks at it. I'm sitting back thinking, all right, I'm looking at this. Oh, look, I got Stowers and Goddard in there. Oh, but I also got three really good running backs. All right, what if I have 21 personnel? I go out and I put Shipley and Barkley Oh, maybe if I can put Shipley, Barkley, and then also have Stowers and Goddard. I mean, they're going to bring all those things. He's going to be running around, and then you don't have moving parts with it also, with the motions going back and forth, and then running backs involved in the passing game. And then you got to look at, you got 3 tight ends in the game. That's, 13 personnel with 1 running back, and you run the ball now, and they can get up on linebackers, but they don't want to get in base defense. They're going to stay in nickel defense. Now you got big tight ends blocking. All these things are going through his head now. He's like, oh, man, look at all this embarrassment of riches I have. That is absolutely amazing. But he's got to make sure he clears it up in his mind and gets things going in the right direction. I can see him being an evil genius. I could do. But I also see a lot of people that get clouded because they have so much stuff they want to run. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to, run through and see what his positives are as far as the players that he has. But, man, there's a lot of pieces he can go in there. There'll be moving parts everywhere. This is going to be a pretty good offense, and I'm looking forward to it. That offensive line being as good as they could possibly be with this new scheme. Man, it's going to be a lot we're going to be able to watch this year.
The season is close when Barrett starts talking elephant formation. That is for sure. Let's get to stance 3. Cooper DeJean is the key to the Eagles' defense. How about it? We learned this offseason that he'll play safety and base defense, which is generally about 15 to 20 plays per game, then play in the slot when they do go to nickel. Yesterday, DeJean was asked about his expanding role at safety.
I'm excited. Obviously, I did it a little bit last year during training camp. I've been around it and feel like I've gotten to learn all the roles in this defense, pretty well. So, I'm excited. It's a good challenge for me. Just trying to perfect that position now rather than going back and forth from safety to corner to nickel last year. Just kind of sticking to that safety and nickel spot now. It's been fun.
All right, Barrett, flat out, how good can DeJean be in year 3?
He could be very good, and they're going to need to be very good. We talk about him being a safety, 15 to 20 plays a game. The reason why they have to have a guy like that on the field, because they don't want to take him off the field when teams try to run the ball against us. And it's not like it used to be. This used to be it's still a passing league. But before, the last 2 or 3 years, teams wouldn't run the ball as much as they run the ball, but they're now starting to do that with the 49ers, with that CMC. You got the Eagles, kind of setting the tone with a 2,000-yard backwards Takeoff and them running the ball the way they run it. Then you got to look at this. I'm looking at, Washington. They want to run the ball efficiently. Then, the Giants also. But we look at also, Chicago, the Rams. Running the ball is becoming what the league is starting to do because nobody really does it. So it catches teams off guard. Well, now you're going to have to play base. Base meaning you got to take the nickel corner out and bring in a linebacker. But you don't want to take him off the field. You got to keep him on the field. So why not put him at safety? That's why they're doing this. It's because these teams are starting to evolve, and you have to stop teams from running the ball. So you can't take one of your best players off the field. Just put him back there as safety. He's a natural back there. The slot position is almost like a safety. You have to do everything that a safety does for stopping a run and covering. But, you're back from, a distance so you can see things develop in front of you. He could be even better at the safety position. So, yes, I like the fact that they're doing this, keeping them on the field just in case they do have to run base for a elongated period of time.
Caught myself one point in practice, wasn't paying attention because I was like, dang, I'm a Patriot, and just trying to take it all in as much as I can. Obviously, I got back to work quickly, but it's levels to it, and like I said, I'm enjoying it. It's obviously I know this ain't heaven, but it's close to it.
Break out the paintbrush. A.J. Brown laying it on thick yesterday at his introductory press conference with the Patriots. We're now joined by a man who has covered the Pets for decades, Mr. Tom Curran, our friend from NBC Sports Boston. How is it up there in heavenly Foxborough, Tom?
Oh, it is just this side of heaven up here. There's pollen flying. It's a real situation up here for the eyes. But the eyes of A.J. Brown were weepy as he approached the practice field yesterday. And as I just said to you, Barrett, after not really wanting to be in Tennessee and then getting traded and clearly not wanting to be in Philly, if he comes here and talks like that and then he's not happy here, I'm going to say that's an A.J. Brown issue.
Absolutely, man. Come on now. How could you not be happy going to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1 Super Bowl, becoming a champion, and you're not happy here? I don't know.
Yeah, he seems ecstatic, Tom. Is all of New England feeling the same way after landing him on Monday after this much-anticipated trade with the Eagles?
You know, the foreplay lasted for so long that people were able to go through and look at all the aspects of the deal. And I don't think Boston and Philadelphia are too far different in terms of overall personality. So people up here are like, oh, they gave up too much. And I know down in Philadelphia, it's the opposite. So to me, I think generally speaking, people are pretty happy. You got a quarterback in Drake May who's on his rookie contract. You have a situation where the team went to the Super Bowl last year way ahead of schedule. They were not a Super Bowl team. They happened to play in the Super Bowl. But this really should be, as I've called it a few times, a turbo shot for their offense.
Yeah, he is a physical specimen on the field for sure. We saw this clip on social media yesterday of A.J. making the one-handed grab on the pass from Drake May. He will wow you for sure. And I know offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels got to be pretty feeling good about the lofty comparison for his new weapon. What about it?
Yeah, it's interesting because Josh has coached, whether it's Davante Adams or Josh Gordon or Randy Moss or Antonio Brown, Brandon Marshall. He has coached some tremendous wide receivers. He compared A.J. Brown to Gronk in terms of physicality. And that's interesting because if you look at A.J. Brown and we watch clips and all the highlights that we're seeing of him, there's not great separation. So I wonder, and I'll turn this to you guys too, and maybe Barry, you can ruminate on this. He might be able to age a little better than a straight speed receiver because of his body size and ability. He almost reminds me, remember Anquan Bolden in 2012 with the Ravens where he just took over? I wonder if this is something that A.J. Brown could kind of model himself toward as well.
Well, yeah, you do. You adjust. You evolve as a player. So, of course, you're going to get a little bit of an experience factor that'll help you, take your game to the next level. But, hey, you alluded to it a little bit. What do you think of the price the Patriots paid to get A.J. Brown?
I think it's unbelievably favorable in their way. I mean, you give up a 2028 first and a fifth rounder coming back for Brown. Meanwhile, Waddle, who went from Miami to Denver, brought back a 1 and a 3. They're going to pick up a guy who's got the 17th highest wide receiver per year salary on his contract right now. They'll spend $25 million over the next 2 years. They're probably going to be with him for 2 years at least. And even if they pick up that third year at $31 million, Jackson Smith and Jigba just signed for $42 million a year. They are getting a very good deal for a guy who's going to fill a void in their offense. They haven't had an ex-receiver be their most productive player really since Randy Moss. It was Welker for a decade. It was Gronkowski in there as well. And then it was, after that, Julian Edelman. And then Jacoby Myers, less of an X. And Stephon Diggs last year. But I think A.J.'s a little bit different than Diggs.
Yeah, he is a little different. We're talking about a guy, we traded a first and a couple of picks for him. And, we got 4 years out of him. We got, like I said, 2 Super Bowl, championships. Well, 1 Super Bowl championship, and we went to one the year before that. But, I mean, I'm looking at it, how worried are you guys, when you think about how it ended with A.J., are you guys worried about the knee?
Well, the knee, to an extent, he doesn't seem to miss games, though. I mean, I think he missed 4 over the last 2 years, which isn't horrendous for a guy who's got the amount of wear on him. I was more concerned, and I asked Mike Vrabel about this. He had a tumultuous tenure in Philadelphia. What's the guarantee that's not going to be tumultuous here? And I was surprised that Mike veered into the conversation talking about off-field demeanor, interacting with teammates, what you're looking for, what you're not looking for. It reminds me, and I hate to keep hearkening back to different things, it reminds me of Corey Dillon. Way back in 2004, he came to the Patriots after a stint with the Bengals as a running back. And when he came here, everybody in the league was like, Corey Dillon is radioactive. You don't want him on your football team. And Bill Belichick contended at that time, every problem that Corey Dillon has is around football. It's not coaches, it's not teammates, it's around wanting to win. A.J. Brown won when he was with Philadelphia. But maybe this is... he finds himself to be a savant, and Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni weren't keeping up with him. If he gets here and looks at Josh McDaniels and says, you don't know what you're talking about, I think that Josh will look at him and go, what do you mean? I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, the fellas are back in the saddle, Tom. A.J. Brown reunited with his old coach, Mike Vrabel, who we really haven't heard much about this offseason. Really flying under the radar. But listen, is it Super Bowl or bust now for the Pats? Getting back to the big show, is that all that matters right now?
That's a great question because that's the main reason I don't care what the Patriots gave up necessarily. The AFC is wide open. Bills, Ravens, they have new head coaches. Kansas City's dealing with Patrick Mahomes off an ACL. The Chargers, I'll believe it when I see it when they have playoff success. Denver's a good team, obviously. But this is a wide open AFC. Again, you have a quarterback on his rookie contract. You don't have an obvious number one receiver. You go out and get him and take your shot now. So you gave up a 2028 first rounder. Big deal. It might be some, tackle from Slippery Rock that you didn't get. Oh, no.
No disrespect to Slippery Rock, though. We love Slippery Rock all the same, right? Tom Curran, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us and sharing your expertise. We'll see you next time.
Good luck.
All right, take care.